Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all doing well. Here in the UK at the moment we are just starting spring and the weather's quite good at the moment, so fingers crossed it stays like that. So with that in mind, I've got some spring and Easter projects for you, and these are little gift boxes that I've made in the form of a large matchbox that hold I don't know whether you can get them by you, like these little mesh bags with sweets in them, especially for Easter. These had little mini filled eggs in it, and this one had some bunnies, chocolate bunnies in it. So they're ideal for Easter. And each bag, they're about 90p I think, fits in a whole packet of them. So that's my one with my little bunnies in there. And this one has got all the eggs in it. So instead of those little mesh bags and giving those, I thought you could fancy them up and create these little boxes, which are very cute. I've used Graphic 45's Sweet Sentiment papers, which is an old collection, but it's really pretty. It's got Valentine's, sort of Cupid, and spring and Easter mixed together. You don't need much of it. You just need, in fact, they are kind of a one-sheet wonder to make the actual box. So you need one large sheet and then some little fuzzy cut elements from the papers. So I'll show you how they work. If I get rid of the eggs for a minute somewhere, they'll go rolling off. So this is the box base, which I've reinforced. I've seen a few videos of making Matchbox gift boxes on the internet. One Septaria 18, I think her name is. Hers is the closest one to this, but I've tweaked it a little bit as well, just for myself. She reinforced one part of the sides, but I've done all the way around, and I've made my sleeve a bit bigger and obviously decorated them differently. But there's lots out there, so I've just tweaked mine to how I want mine. I've also put a little brad for the if I move my camera down because I'm going off a bit, aren't I there? A little brad for the handle, but you can just put a little notch if you want to. Add anything really. So you do need double-sided papers. I've also made mine so that when the box fits in, I tried a few. I like it so that it is not right on the edge, so that it doesn't gape. So I've made mine slightly larger, and I've decorated it up with the papers there. You can see I've got the I've added a tiny little doily, fussy cut some of the images and layered them up, added a sentiment, some gems, and a piece of the paper from your one sheet to break up the background. Same with this one. This one, like I say, has got the little chocolate bunnies in it. You can see the paper inside there, and you can see how nicely it looks when you do reinforce the sides with the added paper. This one has got the Sweet Sentiment on it, a butterfly. I've glittered them up, little ribbon, and the doily again, and a piece of the paper on the back side there. So you can use anything you like really, and they don't have to be for Easter. You can do them for Mother's Day, which is coming up in the UK later, I know in America and elsewhere. Little birthday presents, anything. You could make them masculine. Whatever papers you've got, you could make a version of these. So I'll set these aside and show you how to make them. So what you need is, if you were doing the one sheet wonder, 12 by 12 that is double-sided. And from that, you just need to cut, you'll have leftovers from this one sheet wonder. You just need to cut one piece, which is 8 3/4 by 4 1/4, which is this piece, and another piece which is 7 by 6 inches. So you will have leftover pieces here, and I also cut from that one piece which is 2 3/4 by 4 to make a mat on the top. So that was also from my piece. And then you've got all the little strips left over that you can either do a little belly band round it. It's up to you. So I've also drawn it out what we need to do so that it's easy for you to follow. So first of all, if I just come in here, if we do our cover, so this is the 8 3/4 by 4 1/4 inches, we need to score it at 1 3/4, 2 3/4, 5 3/4 and 6 3/4. So if I do that now, I'll just set that aside, get my scoreboard. So it's really easy, this, and you just need to decide which way around you want your cover or your inside. So I'm going to have this as my cover, my showing. So I want 1 3/4, 2 3/4, 5 3/4 and 6 3/4. Now on graphic 45 paper and others, I quite like to score again on the back, because this helps with any cracking where the white core of the card or paper can show through. So just give it another little score on the back, and then all you need to do is reinforce your folds. Then I'm going this way or this way. I think I might go this way on this one. So there we go, and that is our sleeve, which overlaps like so. You can do the other way, it's up to you, but I think I'm going to go for a purpley one on this one. So there's my sleeve ready. On the second one, this is your other piece. You then need, if I pop that over so you can see, a piece which is 7 inches by 6 inches, which is this. And you need to score on the 7-inch side at 1/2, 1 1/2, 5 1/2 and 6 1/2. So let's do that first. So it's at 1/2, 1 1/2, 5 1/2 and 6 1/2. I'm going to just bob that over just to give myself a little extra score in there. So there we go, 1/2, 1 1/2, 5 1/2 and 6 1/2. Then we're going to rotate it so we're on the 6-inch side, and on the 6-inch side we need to go at 1/2, 1 1/2, 4 1/2 and 5 1/2. So it's kind of similar measurements, but 1/2, 1 1/2, 4 1/2 and 5 1/2. Again, I'm just going to flip that over and just reinforce those score lines. Now that's it for your scoring then, and all we need to do now is quite a busy paper, so I'll try and cut from this side to see if you can see, but if I hold that in there, the blue line is now what you need to cut away. So if I leave that on the screen for a second, you'll be able to see, and if I now cut that away, so in these bottom corners here, you can see, or just about see there, there's our line. I'm going to cut out these first 2 boxes. So I'm going to get them away and I'm going to trim that off. Then I'm going to come to the second one, so you're going the second score line in, up to the second score line, and I'm going to trim that piece away. And then I'm just going to taper that like so. And hopefully you'll be able to see that that is what this part here is. So if I do that again on this side, I'm going the first score line along up to the second score line, which is here. I'm going to taper that away. Then I'm going to go to the second score line in, up to the second score line, take the bottom piece off, and then taper those 2 pieces. And then I'm just going to repeat that on this other side. So it's your first score line in, taper that, second score line, which is here, up to your second score line, take off that small bottom piece and taper it away. And then the last one, let's just see if we can get it here. It's up to our second score line, Then our second one, take that away, taper and taper that. And then the final thing I'm going to do on each side here and on here, I'm just going to taper these ends here. This will just make it a lot easier when it comes to folding it and sticking it down. There won't be so much bulk. So hopefully now, if I zoom my camera out a bit, or move it out a bit, you'll be able to see that this mirrors this. There we go. So that's what you should have left. So let's get that aside. Set that aside, get rid of my rubbish. Now I think I'm going to go this way. I'm going to go the coloured side and have my purple side on the inside. And all I'm going to do is burnish on all my score lines. So just give those all a good fold. Like so. Right, so first up you just need to put glue on these tabs and get those stuck down. So let me find my glue. So fold them in, and I've got my little glue here. Just add glue to those, just at that side there, and get yourself a good neat corner there. So if I just hold those up, just pinch it for a second, just to make sure you get a decent attachment, and then do exactly the same with the other side. Pop some glue on there, fold that in again, make your corner, give it a little squeeze, same on this side. Give that side a little squeeze. You could use some tape for this if you wanted to as well. Just the glue just gives you a little bit of wiggle room. And then all you need to do is I do my top and bottom piece first. So add some glue onto these outer edges and turn them in. Let's turn that over, give that a good stick down, turn this one round and give that one a good stick down. Give them a squeeze because they can be prone to popping up again if you don't have time to stick. Then on this one, pop some glue on there, and the same on the opposite side, and turn those over. That's it. Give that a good squeeze in. Hold it to give it a chance to attach there. Apply a bit of pressure. Same on this side now. And there you see your box should be formed, and you've got some nice pretty edges, and it's very neat. Then all you need to do is get yourself a brad. And I've put a brad for myself somewhere. Okay, so next you need to decide which is going to be your front of your box. I'm going to go for this side and eyeball the middle. You can measure, but I'm going to eyeball. Put myself a little pencil mark there, and I'm just going to poke a hole through and through my finger. And I've got myself a little brad here, and I'm going to put that on as my handle. So there we go, poke that through, open those little legs at the back, and there you go, you've got your handle to your drawer. Then you want to bring in your cover, and all I do for this is turn my box upside down, place it on my cover and line that up. Amazes me when I do this how I still manage. That side there is way out there. I'm just going to give that a quick trim on my trimmer. That is not straight. Let's try again. That's better. So that when it falls round, I must have cut that by hand because that was very wonky, it will fit together and overlap, as you can just see there, by about 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch. So you don't want to put this on too tight. So add some glue right at the end, avoiding getting it on the box, and then on the inside of this one. Now fold it round and don't pull it too tight or it'll be hard for you to get your drawer out. So you kind of want it fitting, but a loose-ish fit. So make sure you can still slide that quite easily and that it's not tight for you. And then once you've got that in the position you're happy with, take your box out and give that a good squish down. Then trial that out by popping your box inside there, and it should fit nicely and neatly inside, which it does. You've got time to alter that if you want to. Push it in because you've got your glue, if you're happy with it, which I am there, because once you've got those chocolates in, it does weigh quite heavy. And that is your basic box shape sorted there. So now you want to decorate it. But before I do, I will just run over those instructions once again so that you've got them if you need to write them down. So you want one piece of card cut from your 12 by 12, or if you've got scraps, use those, which is 7 by 6 inches. On the 7-inch side, you want to score at 1/2, 1.5, 5.5 and 6.5. And on the 6-inch side, you want to score at 1/2, 1.5, 4.5 and 5.5. Then you want to cut away everything that is not this blue line. For your cover, you just need a piece which is 8 3/4 by 4 1/4. That's your 4 1/4. And you want to score at 1 3/4, 2 3/4, 5 3/4 and 6 3/4. So that's that. And then you need your little piece for on the top, which is 2 3/4 by 4. So I did mine on the purple like that, but I could jazz it up, but I'll see what we've got to add to the top. So if I use the coloured side, I can tone that down a bit with my doily, which I think is possibly what I might do. And then I've got some pieces to add to the top. And I've just got some simple bits cut from my papers here. I've got this lovely little girls, set of little girls here with the chicks. And a spring is in the air sentiment. And that is looking pretty as it is, I think. Now, if I don't have that coloured background, I can go tone on tone here. And I think I actually like that better. It's a little less busy. So I'm going to go with that. So what I've got then is my piece of paper cut from the leftovers of my 12 by 12. And I've also got a piece of cardboard that I'm going to use as my base instead of using foam pads. But if you've got foam pads, you could use those too. So I'm just going to add some glue to that. Plenty on. Flip that over. I'm just going to layer that up like so. Let that stick for a second. Okay, so I've got that one stuck on. I'm just going to add a little bit more glue now here to the back. Now you don't have to layer this up if you don't want to, but it does add a little bit more dimension to your project if you do. I inked around the edge of this little piece with some purple distress ink, Dusty Concord I think it was. I'm going to take that and stick that on. Give that time to get a good grip. And you can always fold your box if you want to press down on it harder. There we go. Pop that back in, it does give it a bit of stability. There we are. Okay, now I'm going to add on my doily. Just going to pop a bit of glue here. There, I think. That will do me. Get that stuck on. And then I've got my girls, which I've also added some cardboard to the back of these. So I'm just going to pop those on. I'm happy with those about there. And I've got the spring is in the air little sentiment here, which I've also got up on a bit of cardboard. I have inked the edges of these images and the sentiment with, oh, that needs a little bit more cardboard I think, with some vintage photo, just to give it that vintagey look. Just going to add a bit more of that on there, just balance out your cardboard so that it gives it a good height when you add it on. Just going to pop mine there, just near their feet. That's it, that evens that out. Get it on straight. And then finally I've got another little bit of the violets to add to the top. So I'm just going to cut another small piece, add some glue to that. There we go. And that should tuck, see which way we want it. That way I think. That should tuck nicely underneath there. That looks quite cute. What I haven't put is some gems, which I forgot to add on, so I'm going to pop those underneath here. I'm going to cut that little bit of violets off there. Make sure I've got those on. And I've got some sticky gems, so I'm going to add those to this piece here just for a little extra sparkle. And that can fit along that panel that we've created. That looks great. And then I should be able to open that up, pop our eggs inside. This is one bag, which is how many eggs is in here? 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Odd number. There we go. We'll fit a couple more in there, or you could put the little chocolate bars in. And maybe just finish that off with, let's see if I've got any left in here. A couple of bits of sparkle of our stickles. Just for a little bit of added extra there. On our little girls and their hair bubbles. I think that will do. And that's my little gift box for your chocolate eggs and all those little bags of chocolate sweets that come in not very fancy packaging. So when we've got all three together, zoom out from those. I think they look quite pretty actually. And you can really dress up a very cheap gift and make it look much more expensive and pretty too. So I hope you enjoyed that video. I'd love to know what you think, and if you make any, please link below so I can see yours. I'd love to see what you make. If you like this video, please subscribe. It will be fantastic and allows me to make more videos. And I'll see you in the next one. Thanks very much for watching. Bye.